Okay, our next task is to update this following property so that if we're logged in as Bob and Bob is following Tom, then we want this property to be set to true. That's our goal. And how do we go about achieving this? Well, let's take a look at what we want to do here. So we've got our list of profiles being returned from many different handlers. And we want this to affect all of them, really. But that gives us something to think about. And if we go to our mapping profiles again, then what we're looking to do here is update, and let's just give an example. And we want to say for member, and we'll say d goes to d.following. And we'll use the map from function, and we'll say o.mapFrom. And then we can get our source, and what we want to interrogate here is the followers collection. And we want to know if the currently logged in user is inside that followers collection as a follower of this particular user. Now that means we need to get access to our currently logged in user information from our token. And can we do that inside our mapping profile? Well, that would require injecting something into this. And we cannot inject anything into this constructor. That's not allowed and that doesn't work. But we do need access to our current username or one property from our token. So how do we get that? Well, if we go and take a look at our list class once again, and we hover over the project to property, then this not only takes the configuration provider configuration, but it can also take some params as an object. And what we can do is pass these params to our configuration, i.e. the mapping profiles. And what we'll do is inside the mapping profiles constructor, we'll add a string of the current username and we'll give it an initial value of null. And then what we can do is we can come down to our mapping profile again, this one. And for our followers, we can say we want to see if there's any, and we'll say x goes to x.observer.username that's equal to the current username. And let's move this down. So then all we need to do is get our current username across to our configuration when we're using the project2 function in our list. Now from our handlers, we do have a way to get the user's username, of course. So then what we can do is head back over to our list, and what we'll do is we'll add another thing to inject into our handlers, and we'll add our iUser accessor and call it user accessor. And we'll bring in application interfaces and we'll initialize the field from parameter. And then what we can do, as an addition to the parameters that we're passing to the project2 function, what we can do is specify a new object for the parameters. And then we can specify current username. And be careful of spelling here because we do not get any type safety from this. And then we'll set this to the user accessor and we'll say get username. And let's bring this down. So what this does is passes the current username to our configuration at the same time. And what we should find, if we go and test this functionality, then what we wanted to see when we get Tom's profile back, we want to display the following equal to true. And if we click on send, then this does indeed show that following equals true. Now, if we take a look at Bob's own profile, then of course this should be set to false. And that's correct. But what about if I get Tom's profile as Bob and we see following is equal to false? Now what this means is that we need to update other handlers that also return profiles to use the same trick that we just did in our list of followings. And we'll take a look at updating that in our other handlers next.